Hello. I'm Vanessa, and I'm so happy and grateful to be here connecting with you again. Hope you had an incredible start to your new year. And we are currently reading and continuing the Billionaireette tradition by reading two books every single month. That's one on financial freedom and one on personal freedom. And this year, for the personal freedom side of things, I'm going to change some things. Whereas last year, I was doing daily read with me's on the books, where every single day I was reading the book to you. I'm going to now do recap videos. So it's more of reading a chapter or reading a section of the book and then providing you different recap videos on those specific books. So the featured book, personal freedom book that we're diving into right now is none other than Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. Okay. I'm reading it through the phone, which is really, really awesome way that I'm starting to read, where I used to read the physical book, but I love it. So let me know in the comments, do you read the physical book or do you like have a Nook or a mobile device where you can, it's more portable and you can take it everywhere with you? That's one of the reasons we chose, because we're traveling a lot, especially this year. We're currently in Austin, Texas, but we're looking to do like a US tour in different states around the United States. So we're currently in one of our favorite cities in the entire world, Austin, Texas. The energy here is absolutely phenomenal. The people, okay, the people, the diversity, the inclusion, just the energy is so amazing. So amazing. If you haven't visited, if you haven't been, I definitely encourage you to come visit Austin, Texas, and let us know if you're here. Maybe we're here at the same time and we can meet up. But we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments if you've been to Austin, Texas, okay? Such an incredible city. So let's dive into the recap of Think Like a Monk. This is more of a part one. There's three parts to this book, okay? Part one is letting go, let go. Part two is grow. And part three is give. Let go, grow, give, okay? And within each part, there's different titles, different subtitles, different topics that Jay Shetty, okay, shout out to Jay Shetty, go follow him on Instagram, YouTube, incredible, incredible human being, and bringing so much wisdom and insight, as you'll learn in this book. If you haven't gotten yet, go to Amazon, go get it. It's an incredible book. But he spent some time living with the monks. And so within this book, he's sharing his stories, his experience, the mindset of how to think like a monk. And he considers himself a monk as well. So if you're looking to bring peace, live a life of peace and fulfillment, okay, you definitely want to read and study this book. Okay, it's not just something you read, but something you practice. And really, as you continue to read this, you're understanding how monks think, okay? And as we model that, as we practice different things, it'll allow us to become monk-like as well in a modern world, okay? So we can consider ourselves monks in a modern world, all right? I believe, I'm a monk in a modern world. So let me, one second here. Okay, this is the cover, what the cover of the book looks like. Okay. And train your mind. This is what the book is on. Training your mind for peace and purpose every single day. Train your mind for peace and purpose every day. Part one, let go. Okay. Part two, grow. Part three, give. Let's dive a little bit into part one, letting go. There's 4 sections, 4 chapters in here that Jay Shetty breaks down, okay? The first is identity. The second is negativity. The third is fear. And then the fourth is intention, okay? So we're covering identity first. So let go identity. And then we're diving into what was next? negativity. So identity, negativity, fear, and intention. Identity, negativity, fear, and intention. All part of Let Go Part 1. So in identity, and I'm going to share some of my highlights here because I highlight like almost the whole book. So good. But identity is more of he's sharing that, is it dust or is it me? Like, is my identity that I'm living right now, is it really me? And questioning ourselves. Is it you? Is it you? I am what I think I am. Is it you? And taking that audit within yourself. Is it an identity that you've come to have based on growing up, your parents, your family members, your media? Or is it just dust? And it gives an amazing story in this that I'm going to share with you in the book of, imagine a library, okay, filled with books, filled with all this wisdom, information, knowledge, and it's filled with dust, okay? So the mirror in the library, okay, is dusty. And so imagine yourself walking in and looking at yourself in that mirror, okay? Will you be able to see yourself? It's filled with dust. No, you're there, you're looking at yourself, but there's like dust and you're not able to really see yourself. And that's what happens when we're looking into a mirror and it's not our identity, but we are, just by all of our surroundings growing up and maybe who we believed that we were, he is asking us to question, dig deep, ask yourself these questions, reflect, and ask yourself, is this really me? Is this what I value? What do I value? And so writing down what you truly value, and are your actions and where you're spending your time and investing your time aligning with the values that you really, you truly believe in. And so that's where it's identity, ripping off all the different masks. What, maybe society thinks that you should be like, or that you should accomplish, or that you should do, or your parents, is it expectations that you put on yourself? What is really you? Who is really you? Okay? Who are you? Who is your identity? And removing the dust so that you are left and you can see yourself clearly in the mirror. Cleaning that mirror, wax on, wax off. So identity, let go of the identity that you are not. And becoming aware and understanding. Don Miguel has a quote, you know you are free when you no longer have to be you. Second part, fear. He talks about embracing fear, accepting fear. Okay, fear is natural, it's going to come. But what do? How do you respond to fear? You allow it to paralyze you? Or dig yourself deeper and ask yourselves questions when you're feeling fear. Why am I feeling the fear? Questioning. You mentioned that monks have great questions. They question things. Whereas the majority of people, we look for solutions, we look for the answers instead of questioning. Why? And digging deep to the root of it so you can see, what are you really, scared of in that moment? But embracing it, accepting the fear is huge. Accept the fear. You can proceed further. Negativity. We live in a world where there's a bunch of negativity all around. So not just environments and people, there's a lot of negativity. So who you surround yourself is important. What are you listening to is important. And he goes into like 4 or 5 different types of negative people, right? He mentions the complainers, controllers, the critics. And so just becoming aware, you don't have to judge it, just be aware, okay? And that is an important piece. Let me go into here. Okay. Still getting the hang of this digital aspect. Okay. Types of negative people, I'll run through them here. The complainers, cancelers, casualties, critics, commanders, competitors. Negative behaviors surround us so constantly that we grow accustomed to them. Think about whether you have any of the following in your life. And that's when he goes into the types of negative people. Complainers, like the friend on the phone who complain endlessly without looking for solutions. Life is a problem that will be hard, if not impossible, to solve. Those are the complainers. Then the cancelers, who take a compliment and spin it. You look good today, because you mean I looked bad yesterday? Casualties, who think the world is against them and blame their problems on others. Critics, who judge others for either having a different opinion or not having one, for any choices they've made that are different from what the critic would have done. Commanders, who realize their own limits but pressure others to succeed. They'll say, you never have time for me, even though they're busy as well. Competitors, who compare themselves to others, controlling and manipulating to make themselves or their choices look better. They're in so much pain that they want to bring others down. Often we have to play down our successes around these people because we know they can't appreciate them. And controllers, who monitor and try to direct how their friends or partners spend time and with whom and what choices they make. You can have fun with this list, he says, seeing if you can think of someone to fit each type. But the real point of it is to help you notice and frame these behaviors when they come to you. If you put everyone in the same box of negativity, quote, they're so annoying, you aren't any closer to deciding how to manage each relationship. And then he goes into some more things, some more stories. So instead of judging negative behavior, we try to neutralize the charge. Once you recognize and a complainer isn't looking for solutions, you realize you don't have to provide them. If a commander says you're too busy for me, you can say, should we find a time that works for both of us? Okay, and then he goes into how to reverse external negativity. Become an objective observer. Monks lead with awareness. We approach negativity, any type of conflict, really, by taking a step back to remove ourselves from the emotional charge of the moment. There is a quote. This is a quote from Catholic monk Father Thomas Keating. He said, there is no commandment that says we have to be upset by the way other people treat us. The reason we are upset is because we have an emotional program that says, quote, if someone is nasty to me, I cannot be happy or feel good about myself. Instead of reacting compulsively and retaliating, we could enjoy our freedom as human beings and refuse to be upset. So we step away, not literally, but emotionally, okay, to be able to look at the situation so as if we're not in the middle of it. Okay, and later on in the book, we talk more about distance. He talks about distancing yourself. Negativity is a trait, not someone's identity. A person's true nature can be obscured by clouds, but like the sun, it is always there, and clouds can overcome any of us. We have to understand this when we deal with people who exude negativity and negative energy. Just like we wouldn't want someone to judge us by our worst moments, we must be careful not to do that to others. When someone hurts you, it's because they're hurt. Their hurt is simply spilling over. They need help. And as the Dalai Lama says, if you can help, if you can help others, if you cannot do that, at least do not harm them. Okay. And so back slowly away. Here's a great quote that I've highlighted here. Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. Letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. Let that sit. Freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our heart we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. I encourage you to purge or avoid physical triggers of negative thoughts and feelings, like that sweatshirt your ex gave you or the coffee shop where you always run into a former friend. If you don't let go physically, you won't let go emotionally. Distancing is a very big part. And sometimes he mentions with family members, you can't really distance yourselves. Okay. It might not be an option. And so there we use other strategies, and he gives a 25-75 principles. You know, for every negative person in your life, have 3 uplifting people. Surround yourself with people who are better than you are in some way, whether it's happy or more spiritual. In sports, being around better players pushes you to grow. So don't just spend time with the people you love, grow with them. Take a class, read a book, do a workshop. Allocate time. Another way to reduce negativity, if you can remove, is to regulate your time with that person based on their energy. And going into it, there's probably some people that you can only tolerate for 5 minutes. There's some people that you may only be able to tolerate for an hour or a day or 5 days or 10 days. So just becoming aware of this and consider how much time is best for you to spend with them, and don't exceed it. The next part of negativity is don't be a savior. If all someone needs is an ear, you can listen without exerting much energy. If we try to be problem solvers and we become frustrated when people don't take our brilliant advice, the desire to save others is ego-driven. Don't let your own needs shape your response. And then he goes into reversing internal negativity. Working from the outside in is a natural way of decluttering. Once we recognize and begin to neutralize the external negativities, we become better able to see our own negative tendencies and begin to reverse them. The more we define ourselves in relation to the people around us, the more lost we are. Letting go doesn't mean wiping away negative thoughts, feelings, and ideas completely. The truth is that these thoughts will always arise. It is what we do with them that makes a difference. The neighbor's barking dog is an annoyance. It will always interrupt you. The question is how you guide that response. The key to real freedom is self-awareness. So evaluating our own negativity, he gives a method of spot, stop, and swap. Okay, so to purify our thoughts, monks talk about the process of awareness, addressing, and amending. I like to remember this as spot, stop, swap. First, we become aware of a feeling or issue, we spot it. Then we pause to address what the feeling is and where it comes from. We stop to consider it. Spot, I recognize it, I'm aware of it. Then I'm gonna stop to consider where is this coming from. And last, we swap in a new way of processing the moment, amending our behavior. Spot, stop, swap. Spot it, I'm aware of it. I stop, and I'm gonna swap. It's good. Spot a feeling or issue, stop to understand what it is, and swap in a new way of processing. I encourage you to audit your negative, maybe comments, and also practice that 3 steps. I'm going to spot it, stop it, and I'm going to swap it. Really, really awesome. Incredible. And then he dives deeper into those 3 aspects. So I know I spent a lot of time on negativity, but I think that's definitely important. He goes into forgiveness. peace of mind. Forgiveness has been shown to bring peace to our minds. Forgiveness actually conserves energy. Transformational forgiveness is linked to a slew of health improvements, including fewer medications taken, better sleep quality, and reduced somatic symptoms, including back pain, headache, nausea, and fatigue. Forgiveness eases stress because we no longer recycle the angry thoughts, both conscious and subconscious, that stressed us out in the first place. Ask for and receive forgiveness. Such incredible information in this book. So identity, negativity, fear. Fear does not prevent death, it prevents life. It's a quote by Buddha. He goes into the fear of fear. We let our fear drive us, but fear itself is not our real problem. Our real problem is that we fear the wrong things. What we should really fear is that we will miss the opportunities that fear offers. If we learn how to recognize what fear can teach us about ourselves and what we value, then we can use it as a tool to obtain greater meaning, purpose, and fulfillment in our lives. We can use fear to get the best of us. We waste a lot of time and energy trying to stay in the comfortable bubble of our self-made biospheres. We fear the stresses and challenges of change, but those stresses and challenges are the wind that makes us stronger. So instead of trying to suppress your fear, look at it in a different way. Try to expand your comfort zone by practicing the moves over and over again. This person is saying, I work through the fear until it is just not scary anymore. If we can stop viewing stress and the fear that often accompanies it as negative, and instead see the potential benefits, we're on our way to changing our relationship with fear. That is huge. Changing our relationship with fear. See the benefits of it. Why? What is it signaling? Work with fear. I've mentioned that monks begin the growth process with awareness, just as we do when facing negativity. We want to externalize our fear and take a step back from it, becoming objective observers. The process of learning to work with fear isn't just about doing a few exercises that solve everything. It's about changing your attitude toward fear, understanding that it has something to offer. It has something to offer. Your fear has something to offer. Then committing to doing the work of identifying and trying to shift out of your pattern of distraction every time it appears. Each of the 4 distractions from fear, panicking, freezing, running away, and burying, is a different version of a single action, or rather a single inaction, refusing to accept our fear. So the first step is transforming our fear from a negative to a positive, is doing just that. Accept your fear. To close the gap with our fear, we must acknowledge its presence. As my teacher told us, you've got to recognize your pain. We were still seated and he told us to take a deep breath and silently say, I see you to our pain. That was our first acknowledgement of our relationship with fear. To breathe in and repeat, I see you, my pain. I see you, my fear. I see you, my pain. I see you, my fear. I'm here with you. I see you and I'm here for you. Pain makes us pay attention. Pain makes us pay attention. Love that. Walk toward your fear. Embrace it. Accept it. And see the benefits. And eventually you want to find your fear patterns. So as you continue to become aware of this, start seeing the benefits of it, you're going to understand maybe there's some fear patterns that you have and where it regularly appears. It's great. By developing that intimacy with fear, getting up close and examining what you're afraid of, you can have information that leaves you feeling more empowered and excited about the idea of switching different things in your life that may be happening. The cause of fear. Okay, I love this here. If you're taking notes, write this down. The cause of fear, attachment. The cure for fear, detachment. Cause of fear, attachment. The cure for fear, detachment. So to me, the practice is whenever I feel the fear, I'm aware of it, I accept it. Okay, I'm looking for the benefits, I'm questioning where it's coming from, I'm trying to look at the patterns. But fear signals I'm attached to something. What am I attached to right now that is causing this fear? Because the cure of fear is detachment. Detachment. So what do I have to detach myself from? Internal work. This is internal work. This is internal practice. And then chapter 4 of part 1, intention. Intention. There's 4 motivations that I'm going to go through. 4 motivations that drive everything we do. Ready for them? 1, fear. 2, desire. 3, duty. 4, love. Okay, I'm going to go through them. 1, fear. Takara describes this as being driven by sickness, poverty, fear of hell, or fear of death. 2, desire, seeking personal gratification through success, wealth, and pleasure. 3, duty, motivated by gratitude, responsibility, and the desire to do the right thing. 4, love, compelled by care for others and the urge to help them. These 4 motivations drive everything we do. We make choices, for example, because we're scared of losing our job, wanting to win the admiration of our friends, hoping to fulfill our parents' expectations, or wanting to help others live a better life. And he talks about each motivation individually in the book. So go ahead and get that book, and then you can get a sense of how they shape your choices. Okay. Here's a good one. We think that success equals happiness, but this idea is an illusion. When we let our achievements and acquisitions determine our course, we're living in the illusion that happiness comes from external measures of success, but all too often we find that when we finally get what we want, we find success. It does not lead to happiness. Jim Carrey once said, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer. The illusion of success is tied not just to income and acquisition, but to achievements like becoming a doctor or getting a promotion. My desire in the story above that he shared to memorize the scriptures came from a material desire. It's the monk's material desire. As long as we keep attaching our happiness to external events of our lives, which are ever changing, we'll always be left waiting for it. Because our search is never for a thing, but for the feeling that we think the thing will give us. We all know this already. We see wealthy or famous people who seem to have it all, but who have bad relationships or suffer from depression, and it's obvious that success didn't bring them happiness. Material gratification is external, but happiness is internal. When monks talk about happiness, they tell the story of the musk deer, a tale derived from a poem by Kabir. The musk deer picks up an irresistible scent in the forest and chases it, searching for the source, not realizing that the scent comes from its own pores. It spends its whole life wandering fruitlessly in the same way we search for happiness, finding it elusive when it can be found within us. Happiness and fulfillment come only from mastering the mind and connecting with the soul, not from objects or attainments. Success doesn't guarantee happiness, and happiness doesn't require success. They can feed each other, and we can have them at the same time, but they are not intertwined. So, based on those four intentions, the most fulfilling ones are the last two, which is duty and love. So, there's no right or wrong. It's just something that the monks believe, like when we're in service, that will create fulfillment, you know? So, taking an observation of your goals, your goals that you currently have, or your wants right now, and digging deeper, asking yourself question, what is the motivation, the four motivations, and just being aware of it. Doesn't mean you have to change it, be honest, but it's just a great understanding of the four motivations in that way. I've never heard it that way, which is really, really cool to be able to see. And you're also able to, see other people's awareness or motivation. And it doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just becoming aware and understanding. So also understanding that just because, let's say, for example, person A wants to get rich and person B wants to get rich, one can be they're motivated by duty and love to get rich, and one can be from personal gratification and desire or fear to get rich. Okay, but just understanding that really, if you're doing it out of fear and you're motivated by fear, it's not sustainable. It's not going to last. It's not going to be fulfilling for you. It's not going to bring that peace and that happiness. But moving that eventually, it could take years, 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, depending. Where you could at first go for something and you're driven by fear, you're driven by personal gratification. And once you go there, you're like, wait, this is not fulfilling. And then it's like, okay, let me go into service, and then you're fulfilled. But that awareness is really awesome. What is the intention behind it? The intention of your motivation. Purpose and meaning, not success, lead to true contentment. When we understand this, we see the value of being motivated by duty and or love. When you act out of duty and love, you know that you are providing value. And the more we upgrade from trying to fulfill our selfish needs to doing things out of service and love, the more we can achieve. We can take on more when we're doing it for someone we love or to serve a purpose we believe in, rather than from the misguided idea that we will find happiness through success. When we perform work with conviction that what we do matters, we can live intensely. Without a reason for moving forward, we have no drive. When we live intentionally with a clear sense of why what we do matters, life has meaning and brings fulfillment. Intention fills the car with gas, that drive, that motivation. And it goes into the why ladder. The why. Dig to the deepest why behind the want. Dig to the deepest why behind the want. So I'll leave you with this for part one, recap. Okay. Try this, a question meditation. Take a desire you have and ask yourself why you want it. Keep asking until you get to the root intention. Don't negate intentions that aren't good, just be aware of them and recognize that if your reason isn't love, growth, or knowledge, the opportunity may fulfill important practical needs, but it won't feel emotionally meaningful. We're most satisfied when we are in a state of progress, learning, or achievement. And that's why you probably feel very satisfied right now, because you're learning, you're growing, you're progressing, and it's a beautiful thing. Alrighty? So let's live your intentions. live your intentions, and that will conclude the recap for part 1. Would love to hear your thoughts. Would love to hear your feedback. Would hope this brought you value. And even if it was one sentence, one part of the book, of this letting go that, you know, provided you an idea or something that you wanted to do. Something we did in our inner circle is we practice letting go of stuff. So a good way to practice letting go, it could be material things. It could be clothes. One of our members, awesome inner circle members, she literally got her kids and her clothes that had emotional attachments to it, and she donated them. She was letting go of them, and it was an awesome experience. Something that you can also do is, you know, you could get a haircut, you could shave your head, let go of all that hair. But there's so many different things, whatever calls to you, whatever aligns with you that you feel like, okay, I don't want to let this go. Maybe try practice letting something go this week. All right. We'll see you in the next recap session with part 2, Grow. I'm super excited. This is an incredible book. And if you haven't gotten the book, whether through your digitally or physically, go ahead and go get it. Go connect with Jay Shetty. He's absolutely phenomenal. My name is Vanessa Black, one of the owners and founders of Billionairette, where we are on a mission. And every single day we are impacting and empowering souls all over the world to achieve personal freedom and financial freedom in their lives. And we're doing that every single day by developing our minds, our bodies, and our souls. All right. So I'm so glad that you are here and a part of this vision and mission. Continue to do this, because as we continue, I believe, and I know they've mentioned it a little bit in this book, but the greatest way, the greatest thing to make an impact is being that person, being that example, and just being will shine that light and make an impact on others. So we'll see you in the next recap session very shortly. All right. Looking forward to hearing your feedback. Connect with us on Instagram, on YouTube, subscribe, Billionairette on Instagram, and we'll see you soon. All right. Take care.